Hello, I am Monica McCarthy with Coldwell Banker Collegiate Peaks Realty in Salida, and I'm here with Craig Nielson, the owner of Green Edge Design, also in Salida. Thanks for meeting with me.
You bet. Thanks for having me.
Well, yeah, so Craig, give us a little summary on your business. What kind of offerings do you have?
Sure. Well, I'm a green building design studio.
Okay,
So my focus is 100% on green building and green building design.
okay,
And we can probably get into that in a little bit.
yeah.
So the about 75% of my business is doing house plans, custom house plans
Okay,
for folks that are building new, but also do remodel design
okay.
and consultation.
And what is your service area? Do you just help people in this area, or is it all over?
Primarily the region,
Okay.
definitely all of Chaffee County, but surrounding counties. But I do work statewide
Okay,
and can even do work out of state
Okay.
on new construction.
a new construction? Okay, great. And how long have you been here in Salida?
I started my company in 2005 when historically oil peaked at its highest point.
Okay,
And it's since, of course, exceeded that point, but been interested in this my whole life, and I decided, now it's time to do something. So I started out part-time in 2005, and then my business went full-time in 2010.
okay. Just all in on the green edge or the green design piece?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
Same company here in Salida, so since
Since
2005.
2000. So
Yeah.
why did you choose Salida?
Well, I mean, I chose the place to live here first before I
Gotcha.
started my business. I moved here in 2002.
Okay.
And then I could tell that, the market was starting to pop and more progressive people were moving in that tend to care more about green values and green building, although that's not always true. It's really it's not a political kind of leading per se. But I just kind of knew that this area was going to grow, and I thought it would be a great opportunity to do what I love
Okay.
in kind of a growing market.
Nice. And then be in a place that you loved. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
yeah, exactly. In a place that
So,
for
sure. Why would you not want to do that?
Right.
And so what would you say your customers love the most about you and Green Edge Design?
Well, they get a very personalized process through the design process. With I pride myself on good communication and transparency, and all my fees and all my numbers. I'm kind of an open book.
Okay.
Really detailed invoicing, so that kind of business side of it, I feel like they get really good service. And then my specialty is green building. That's all I do. So people that want that and they want high performance buildings and houses, I think I probably do that better than anyone in the market.
Because it's not somebody that's dabbling in it. You're
I
doing it.
don't dabble in it. There's a lot of greenwashing in the industry where builders and developers will say that they're building green, but if you really peel back the layers of the onion, that's not always the case.
Gotcha.
And that's kind of true with even product manufacturers. There's a lot of greenwashing.
Okay.
Green building is hot, and it's a kind of a buzz.
Yeah.
But there's real green, and then there's kind of fake green.
Yeah.
So I operate in the real green category, and
Okay.
have a pretty extensive background in that. So all my house plans designs are customized, so there's no two plans that are the same.
Okay.
And then the other interesting thing is I only do smaller designs, so it's really unusual for me to have a plan that's more than a couple thousand square feet.
Oh, okay. Just
So,
because that makes it more green.
Yeah, it makes it more green. The impact of the footprint is directly related to the environmental impact of the building.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I'm just not interested in designing kind of small mansions or
Yeah.
big second homes. There's lots of designers that do that type of work, so that's really not me.
Gotcha. Okay. And that actually segues well. Elaborate a little bit more. You touched on it, but elaborate a little bit more. What exactly is green design besides just the obvious, get a little deeper
Sure.
on what that means?
Sure. Well, the best way to think about it is every house that you see out there in the world, in the landscape, there's a hole in the earth the size of the house
Yeah.
that was mined to create the materials to build that house.
Okay.
And then there's also about an acre of forest that typically gets cut down to build every house. So all building, even green building, has a very high impact on the environment. So the main goal of green building is to lessen that impact overall.
Okay.
But it's a very comprehensive approach. So it has to do with the primary focus is energy use and consumption. So a building that performs really well energy wise.
Mm-hmm.
So that's priority because you can't take an average performing building and apply green building materials to it and make it green.
Okay.
So that's probably the most important part, the envelope design.
Okay.
And then I do almost exclusively passive solar design, which can handle about 80% of the heat load for a building in this climate. And this thing about passive solar design, it's a very old idea. In Colorado, the Anasazi Indians were using these ideas 800 to 1200 years ago.
Yeah.
If you go to their dwellings, they all face south.
Yeah.
They all have thermal baths where the sun absorbs, and they use that as a heating system because their buildings were not fully enclosed, of course.
Yeah.
So it's a very old idea, but it was really developed in the 1970s in a big way. But there were a lot of problems with the 70s designs. So it's an old idea, but it just works. It's solid. There are no moving parts. It doesn't cost any more to do passive solar design.
Oh, okay.
But then beyond the energy use, green building really focuses on indoor air quality and the health of the occupants that are in the building.
Oh, okay.
So a lot of building materials have a high toxicity level. So using materials that have no or very low off-gassing, everything from green paints to finishes to floor coverings. Floor coverings are one of the most toxic parts of what you put into a home.
Yeah.
So when people go in a new home and they smell that new home smell, kind of like a new car.
Yeah, yeah.
What you're really smelling are all the toxins that are off-gassing from the construction.
Yeah.
So green building cares a lot about that.
Okay.
Indoor air quality and the health of the occupants. It cares about the material resource and the impact on the material resource. So how far away were the components of the building manufactured? So the more local, the better.
Sure.
You can be within a 500-mile range. Your impact on the environment is less. The recycled content of materials, the recyclability of materials, and then everything all the way down to using salvage materials. And in the case of remodeling, it's kind of green remodeling is kind of the ultimate in recycling. So, and there's a lot of that going on in this market because of the historic nature of the housing stock.
Yeah.
So, taking an old house and converting it and upgrading it and making it more energy efficient and more livable is really, really goes a long ways with green. And then you apply green techniques and green materials to that, so you can do a green remodeling as well as
while still maintaining the historic details and that sort of thing of the home. Okay. Right. Wow, I didn't know you could do that. Okay. So then for someone planning to build, why should they consider green building opposed to traditional building? Like besides the energy, people think energy efficient, but then what are there any other benefits? To choose.
I think the benefits are number one, it doesn't have to cost more. That's one of the myths in the industry that green building is really expensive. Now it can be because a lot of green materials are quite expensive. Okay. But it certainly doesn't have to be. I did green affordable housing work for almost 20 years.
Oh, okay.
And there was some lap over with the start of this business, but so it doesn't have to cost more. That's the most important thing to remember. Yeah. You're going to live in a home that's healthier for you and your family. Okay. It's probably going to have a lot more natural light. Oh. Which is huge. Which is huge.
The resellability too.
Yeah, resellability and just the enjoyment and the mood that it creates within yourself. Even if you're in a well-lit area that has lots of daylight, you're probably going to be a little happier in that house than the house that's dark.
That's true, yeah.
And then the other thing is you're just kind of doing the right thing for the environment if you care at all about climate change. Going green is the right way to go. It's kind of the right thing to do. And then your resale should be higher. Okay. And then you can document the energy savings to the next buyer. So if that buyer cares about energy use, and most people do,
sure, certainly,
it's easy to sell it that way.
Yeah.
It's like this home is healthier. It's more comfortable.
That makes it a bit more marketable. Yeah. For sure.
Yeah,
okay.
And comfort's a big factor too. So in a well-designed home with a good building envelope, the temperature variation throughout the home is very small. And that's really what creates comfort. So we're sitting in a very old 1900 home right now. Yeah. And I've done a lot of energy upgrades to the home, but it's not a comfortable house because the temperature varies up to 20 degrees in different parts of the house.
Wow.
And that's just not
And I'm sure as soon as the sun
environment.
goes down, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So, okay. That makes
but
sense.
in new construction, it's very easy to create that comfort level.
Yeah.
And in our market, we have a lot of retirees and they're older folks, and a narrower temperature range is more important for older folks because our bodies just don't regulate heat as well as they do when we're young.
Yeah. And I guess you'd save money and heating costs too, right?
Absolutely, yeah. Lots of money in heating costs. If you're using the sun, just with passive solar design alone, no extra cost to do that, and up to 80% if it's designed right.
Wow.
Every heat load in this climate.
So you can save up to 80%, you said?
Sure.
Okay, wow, that's
Sure.
big. That's a big change.
It's a big savings.
So then you kind of touched on it. So somebody looking to remodel an existing home, and cost is obviously a factor too. But
Sure.
Green design, it would be similar reasons then to remodel than to build a home from scratch. To choose green design for a remodel.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely in green remodel, and I'd say 25% of my design jobs are remodels.
Okay.
So there's often opportunity to kind of open up the south walls of the house.
Oh, okay.
A lot of remodel design includes doing an addition
Okay.
to make the home more livable. So every opportunity you have to open up the southern exposure and get some sun in, some free heat in, and some sun.
Yeah.
Is just a good thing to do.
That makes sense.
And then, of course, the addition can be detailed to a high level of performance. Existing houses, you do what you can. There's diminishing returns on energy upgrades with old houses, but there's some kind of low-hanging fruit there.
Okay.
To focus on. So an example would be attic insulation or roof insulation.
Okay.
Just getting that boosted up is the best bang for your buck in terms of energy upgrades. People think new windows are the best way to energy upgrade, but it's a bit of a myth because even the best windows in the world are only have an R value of 6 or 7 or maybe 8.
Okay.
As opposed to a wall system, which a good wall system would have an R24.
Gotcha.
Or above.
Okay. So that would have a
and
bigger
they're real
impact.
expensive. Not that that's a bad idea. That goes a long ways toward comfort.
Yeah.
But there are a lot of other things you can do with green remodeling. And then there's the green building movement is probably close to 25 years old now.
Yeah.
So there's a lot more products on the market now.
Okay.
Everything from cabinets to framing lumber to
Okay.
exterior sheathing, insulated exterior sheathing, to appliances, floor coverings,
Gotcha.
all kinds of finished
So you just have
materials.
so
that
many
are,
options.
they're very great. There's a lot of wonderful options.
Yeah.
And the great news is there's very few true green products that aren't incredibly durable.
So meaning it'll last longer.
I mean, it'll last longer. So you may pay more for a green floor system in the beginning, but your life cycle costs are going to go down dramatically.
Oh.
So the quality of green materials is often very, very high.
Okay.
They're just incredibly durable. And it's just the way it is. They're made with more natural materials, and they just wear better, they last better,
Yeah.
and they look better.
That makes sense. So it's value in the long run. Okay.
Value in the long run, for sure.
So we kind of talked about cost already. So if someone's planning to build a home in this area, what kind of advice would you offer them? So they want to come to this area. It's a desirable area.
Sure.
What kind of advice would you have for them?
If they're a lot of my clients are in the rural area,
Okay.
and so they find their dream lot and they fall in love with it, and they're excited. It's great, but oftentimes what they overlook is the cost that it takes to get their lot ready, where they can actually pull a permit to build a building on it or a house on it. So they might need a septic system, they might need a well, they might need an expensive driveway, they might need to do some drainage work on the site to deal with water during flood events, which we have a lot of with our monsoon rainstorms. So the first place I would start is really assess your site. If you already have it, you have to face the fact that it's going to cost you a lot of money to get ready. Most jurisdictions will not allow you to pull a building permit until you have all these other things in place, like the well and the septic system. So those can be quite expensive. The next step is to really, really do a good site design.
Okay.
This is another service that my company offers. If it's a larger parcel, and I work with folks that are doing homesteads and larger parcels of land that have multiple units, you really want to master plan that.
Okay.
Even if you're not going to build the other buildings down the road, you
Gotcha.
don't want to, oh, I'll figure the rest of it later. I'll get, figure out where the house goes and then I'll just figure out the rest of it later. That's really not a very good approach. It's better to kind of master plan the whole thing with site design work.
Gotcha.
And then take care of, find out the best place for the well, the best place for the septic system, where the house is going to go. Another part of green building is really integrating the building to the site and the environmental conditions that exist on the site. Everything from wind, water flow, orientation, views,
Okay.
and really designing specifically for that site. So that's all design and planning
Yeah.
and planning work that folks should try to do. If you're moving into the city and you're buying a lot in a subdivision, all that has been done for you. Really, your only decisions are size, style,
Sure.
and you can still do a lot of things that will make it green. And for folks that don't want, what they think a greenhouse is supposed to look like, green building can apply to every style out there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so a lot of really green built houses that you see, you don't really know, like, oh, that's a green built house.
Yeah.
So they don't have
It
to
could
be
still
these,
look modern and nice.
they could still look modern and nice or contemporary, whatever
Yeah.
style you prefer.
Okay, that's good to know. Anything else you can add to this? You're a wealth of knowledge, it seems like.
Yeah, I've been doing this for a while.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. I would say, it's regardless of who folks use for a designer or for a builder. Like, these are just important questions to ask.
Yeah.
And to care about, because you're gonna. And then I would also encourage people to not rush the process. So even with design, I like to have a 3-month window when I work with clients.
Okay.
I don't need that much time to design a house, but it facilitates better communication. So regardless of who they're using for a designer or architect or a builder, if you can kind of relax the process, start at least 3 months ahead of when you want to start building.
Okay.
And really kind of really dive deep into these questions about performance and orientation and views. For example, here we have in Salida, particularly, but even in Buena Vista, we have these wonderful views that are to the west. And everyone wants, big walls of windows because they want to take advantage of these views. The problem with that is it's almost impossible to shade a western aspect from heat that you don't want. And even in the winter, you can get smoked out of your house with heat gain.
Oh, okay.
So how do you capture views and have good energy performance? And you can certainly do that, but you have to go into the process aware of that.
Yeah.
So I would just say, for folks that are going through this process, ask those hard questions and try to find a good match for you, both your designer, architect, and your builder. Someone who cares about the values that you care about.
Yeah, exactly. That makes sense. Well, awesome. Well, thank you very much for your time. I
You bet.
appreciate it. I'm going to have all
Thank
of
you.
Craig's information at the bottom of this video, and please contact him if you're interested in a green designed house. Thank you very much.
Great. Thank you.